A little different this morning. We're using a quote from Reverend Sarah Asher for Lighting the Chalice. These words are in your order of service. If you would please join with me. May the light from this flame be a beacon of our faith in the days that grow dark and dreary. May the light from this flame be warmth to our spirits during nights of restless searching. May the light from this flame be a celebration of truth, meaning, and joy we find within these walls and in our dreams.
To worship is to stand in awe under a heaven of stars, before a flower, a leaf in sunlight, or a grain of sand. To worship is to be silent, receptive before a tree astir with wind, or the passing shadow of a cloud. To worship is to work with dedication and with skill. It is to pause from work and listen to a strain of music. To worship is to sing with the singing beauty of the earth. It is to listen through a storm and to the small, still voice within. Good morning. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of the Low Country. My name is Charlie Tyler. I'm the pastoral minister here, and it's my pleasure to be able to welcome you back. There may be guests and visitors here who are with us for the first or second time, and if so, if you're willing, I'd love to have you stand and introduce yourself. So are there any such people as that here today? Yes, sir, if you would please.
Good morning, I'm John Ruggieri. My wife and I live in Hilton Head the last 3 years. We came here from Texas. I used to be a member of the First Unitarian in Dallas before we came here. I'm a guest of Tom. Thank you.
Welcome. Are there others? No? Welcome. Those of you that are longtime members here or have been visiting with us for a while, you know what we're about and you know the strength that comes from our unity together. A couple things I want to do early on. First is to thank you all for your concerns. Some of you know that I had an accidental run-in with a South Carolina wildlife animal coming back from work on Thursday night, and by the time it was all over with, I found myself fearing that my safety devices were going to kill me. My airbag on the steering wheel went off. I immediately was blind because it condensed on the inside of my windshield. My seat belts were pulling me to the bottom of the car. But anyway, all was good, ended well. More than likely, my little red Mazda will be totaled out. We'll see when that time comes. So thank you for your concerns, and glad I can be here today. Thank you so much. We also have a handful of new members that I would like to recognize before we go any further. Ted Brown, are you here today? If you would please, Ted. And Janet? We'll let the two of you celebrate together. So here's your gold badge.
Charlie, the little blue books, underneath.
All kinds of stuff scattered around here. Thank you. So the word of the year last year was Riz. Did you know that? It's from charisma. We got Riz. Jacqueline Stahl. Jackie, are you here today? There you are. Badge. I know it's here somewhere. At least that's for you. Where did that go? Got it. Nooks and crannies and your blue book. Okay. Thank you. All right. Welcome. There are now a handful of individuals who asked for an opportunity for an announcement. So Kathy Z, if you would please, I'm going to turn it over to you first.
Thank you, Joe.
Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Kathy Sizer, and I'm here today. Yay. Last year, we ran a food drive, a specific food drive with specific items for the pantries. And so this will be next Sunday, our second annual UUCL Holiday Food Drive. This year's drive will benefit the Sandalwood Food Pantry on Hilton Head Island. We sponsored the same collection in December of 2022 with donations going to Bluffton Self-Help Pantry. At the direction of the pantries, we have come up they came up with 5 to 6 specific much-needed items. Last week, if you were here on your chair, there were flyers naming those specific items. This is in addition to our, I actually see stuff back there already, to our regular Sunday collection. It will also, some of the items will go to our homeless population, both on Hilton Head and in Bluffton. So what was asked there, if you can get cans that have flip tops on them, that way they don't need any kind of electrical item to open it. So, anything? The 5 items? Oh, I don't have that on me, but it is Pampers. I can look back there.
They're online. They're on the website.
They are.
Yeah.
So I know Pampers and wipes, and the other was the powdered milk, powdered almond milk, or powdered regular milk. That provides calcium for these families. Peanut butter, protein for them. And then the canned meat, yes, that was a big thing. Any kind of canned meat. Chicken, tuna, salmon, whatever. But apparently it is on the website, so thank you. And oh, it's on, great. I forgot to pick one up today. So I didn't see it. But thank you in advance. You are such a generous congregation, and I just know this is going to be successful again. So thank you.
Thank you, Kathy. Betsy, I know you've asked for time too.
Good morning. I have some good news for a change. June, Bartholomew, and Marvin are here today, and June and her family, of course, are feeling much better because they're here, but they're still really tired. And June asked me to thank you for all the cards and the meals. And we even have one in the freezer for her this morning. So you guys are you're just really wonderful. You're really wonderful. Thank you. Now, Mary Watson is doing well, and she would like visitors. And I'm going to ask you for some more help. It came to my attention that lots of folks would like to come to music on Malthus. But they're really uncomfortable driving at night. So if any of you would be willing to have another passenger in your car if you're planning to come, that would be so helpful. And if you would give your name and your phone number to Wynette, and Wynette, will you stand and go like this? Then I was thinking we could ask David to publish the names of the volunteer drivers in an email, and that way you can connect with one another, and we can help each other, and we can have more people for Music on Malthus, which would be just great. I think that's it. Thank you.
And Kathleen. Yes, ma'am, if you would, please.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Kathleen Kelly, representing the membership committee. I hope you saw our balloons when you came in. This is a very special second annual event, our committee fair, otherwise known as the recruitment fair. And if any of you are interested in joining the work of our congregation, because we have wonderful staff, but they couldn't possibly do all the things that need to be done. We especially have 2 new committees that are looking for members. One is the Safety Committee, which has been created as a sign of our times. The Safety Committee will be looking out in the parking lot and helping us to be secure. So right now, 2 or 4 people are doing the work. If we spread it out, it's always easier. Building and Grounds also always needs members because we have to rake and clean up the parking lot and keep the building going. So Building and Grounds is looking for new members, but only, I can say that every committee can use new members because you bring new ideas, new insights, and new energy. So those of us on committees need you, especially new members, to help us. Stop by, there'll be somebody sitting next to each committee name 10, and you can learn what the committee does, when we meet, and how to join. Thank you.
Any other community announcements before we go further? Maxine, would you meet me down front, please?
Just wanted to make an announcement for all of you. I know that many of you know myself, Maxine Vitale, and my husband, Paul Weiser. My husband got the diagnosis of colorectal cancer on May 23rd, and it's been just about 6 months. At the time of the diagnosis, also was told that the pain he was having was due to gallstones, and told he should have his gallbladder removed. When he was on the operating table for that procedure, the surgeon decided not to do the surgery due to tumors that he found all over. So since that time, at the end of June, Paul started chemotherapy. We decided to do that once we heard from the oncologist that if chemotherapy was not initiated, that he would have about 6 months to live. Well, it's been about 6 months. He had a great deal of difficulty with the chemotherapy, especially as time went on, since all the effects were cumulative. The fatigue that's common for everyone, the gastrointestinal issues, and not wanting to eat or drink that much. Everyone thinks it's so hard to lose weight. It's harder to eat and drink when you have cancer. So over time, he became more weakened. The gallbladder acted up again, and we went for 9 days to Memorial Hospital in Savannah, which was hell because couldn't sleep there, and they have a program of sleep disruption, and blood-sucking vampires come at night to take your blood. So it was just hell there. But he was very weakened after that procedure and transferred to Encompass in Bluffton. And he participated in the program as much as he could. He was always motivated to get well and wanted to continue to be independent, do as much as possible for himself. He didn't talk about any of his pain that he was going through in discomfort. He just tried to compose himself in regard to that as best as he could. So towards the end of Encompass, he was sleeping a lot more and had a lot more pain. The doctors suspected some sort of abdominal issue. The surgeon that did the cholecystectomy wanted him to go back to Memorial Hospital for a scan. They never completed the scan due to aspiration of bile, and they did CPR. So he passed away Friday morning at 3:15. So I just wanted to tell you all, because I know you're all we're very concerned about us, and we all miss him greatly, and we loved each other very much. But when I had to make a decision as to whether we should continue CPR, I called a friend of mine who was an oncologist, and we discussed it, and I was pretty sure that I made the best decision at that point and had to just allow him to pass, and that's what he would have wanted. So I appreciate the support of all of you. I'm very glad that I belong to this community.
our service to a close later on, I'm going to ask that we gather around Maxine and just put our hands on her, send good vibes. Thank you, Maxine, for the courage to come here and do what you just did. Appreciate that. Now Dick Hood has the challenge.
Maxine, certainly as a member of our congregation, I can speak for all of us that express our shock and our sympathy, and we appreciate your sharing that story with us. So, however, things go on. I want to talk just a little bit about the committee fair. Kathleen announced that it was for recruitment. I would like to also offer that it's a chance for you to say thank you to the lay people who really run this church. One of the things I can say as somebody that's been around a number of churches in my lifetime is that the quality of lay leadership in this church is just unbelievable. Just the dedication, the skill, and the organization that you exhibit is truly outstanding. And so this is a chance. We're not going to have talk back. It's a chance for you perhaps to stop by the tables and say thank you. For our members and friends who are part of, grew up in the Jewish tradition, happy Hanukkah. This is the opening hymn is number 250, and just a word of explanation. One of the very few prerequisites that the minister who preaches, 256, thank you, I appreciate that. One of the few prerequisites is that I get to pick the hymns. This is, without doubt, my favorite Christmas hymn. Please rise as you're willing and able.
Everybody breathe. So last night was the third night of Hanukkah. So today I'm going to remind us of a true story that happened, coincidentally, on the third night of Hanukkah, 30 years ago in Billings, Montana. And some of you may remember this story. A young Jewish boy named Isaac Schnitzer was at home in the den working on his math homework when there was a sudden loud crash. And when his family went down the hall to see what had happened, they saw that the big front window in Isaac's bedroom had been shattered, and lying on the rug, still glowing, was the electric menorah that had been sitting on his windowsill. The floor was covered with pieces of glass, and on Isaac's bed was a big rock. Someone had thrown a rock through his window. And when they looked outside, the street was quiet. Whoever had thrown the rock was gone. Isaac's parents called the police, and Wayne Inman, the town's chief of police, came to the house. After assessing the situation, he suggested that they take the menorah down. Isaac's mother said, "We're not taking down our Hanukkah decorations. Being Jewish is who we are, and we are not going to hide it." "Well, you shouldn't have to hide it," said the police chief, "but it might be safer. We're going to try to protect you, but Jewish families seem to be the special targets of these haters, especially the families who have menorahs in their windows." And when Isaac heard him say this, he asked, "Are you saying that someone threw a rock in my window because I'm Jewish?" And his father said, "Yes, it is because we are Jews." And the police chief agreed, and he said, "Isaac, we do think that that is why someone threw this rock." And he went on to explain that prejudice and hate crimes have been around as long as anyone can remember. No one knows why this whole thing started, but for some reason, our town has been infiltrated by certain skinhead, bigoted, racist groups. Jews, African Americans, and mixed-race families are being targeted with acts of hate. This small group of people in Billings has been causing a lot of trouble. First, they sent out flyers saying hateful things about Jews, and then they spray-painted threats on the home of a Native American, and they tried to frighten some African Americans in their church. Last week, they damaged the synagogue, and now they're throwing rocks at menorahs. Isaac thought, maybe they should just put their menorahs away. But his parents said no. His dad said, "Sticking up for a belief is never easy." And the next day, the glass got repaired, but Isaac didn't know if he was ready to put his menorah back in the window. His mother decided to get in touch with the local TV station. She wanted to be interviewed so that she could tell the people in Billings what happened to them, and she could ask for help. TV reporters came to their home. Isaac's mother explained what had occurred and even took them into the bedroom and showed them where it actually happened. And she spoke about the acts of hate towards other people in their town. After seeing Isaac's mom on TV, Wayne Inman, the chief of police, and Margaret McDonald, another woman who was the director of the Montana Association of Churches, called a special meeting to focus on what the town could do to try and stop these acts of hate. The police chief told the crowd that although they were doing everything they could to catch the people who were throwing the rocks, it was really important for them to stand together as a community. He said, "We have to show that an act of hate against even one person is an act of hate against all of us." And Mrs. McDonald spoke up and she said, the Schnitzer family has been urged to take down their menorahs so that they won't be a target. But that is not the answer. What if we were told to take down our Christmas trees and our lights because people might throw rocks at us? And she said, let's take a stand and let's all of us, put up menorahs. So religious leaders that were at this meeting said that they would talk to their congregations, and the local newspaper, the Billings Gazette,
ran an article which read, "On December 2nd, 1993, someone, twisted by hate, threw a brick through the window of the home of one of our neighbors, a Jewish family who chose to celebrate the holiday season by displaying a symbol of faith, a menorah, for all to see. Today, members of religious faith throughout Billings are joining together to ask all residents to display a menorah as a symbol of something else, a symbol of our determination to live together in harmony, and our dedication to the principle of religious liberty embodied in the First Amendment to the Constitution of the United States. We urge all citizens to share in this message by displaying the menorah on a door or a window from now until Christmas. Let's let the world know that the national hatred of a few cannot destroy what all of us in Billings and in America have worked together so long to build." Beneath this editorial, they printed a full-page picture of a menorah in the newspaper, and they asked people to cut it out and display it in their homes. They asked people to put up menorahs even if they weren't Jewish, to show support for Isaac's family and all the other families that were being harassed. By showing our support for one another, they said, we can make our town a better place to live. And then it began to happen. In a show of solidarity, thousands, actually tens of thousands of residents in the town of Billings, Montana, began displaying paper menorahs. House after house had menorahs in their windows, and there wasn't a single street that didn't have the symbol of Hanukkah somewhere. I love this story because it just reminds me that human beings can be capable of extraordinary acts of courage and goodness. This community understood that everyone should be able to celebrate their holidays without fear. They resolved to stand together, and slowly but surely, the acts of hatred began to stop. And eventually, Isaac put the menorah back in his window. This morning, I brought in a menorah that belonged to my grandmother and was passed down to my mother and now passed down to me. And Charlie's going to light 4 of the candles because today is the 4th day of Hanukkah. And as we enjoy these flames from our menorah and from our chalice, may we think of these words that Isaac's mother said to him. She said to her son, "Hate can make a lot of noise. Love and courage are usually quieter, but in the end, they are the strongest."
Now's the time for sustaining our community. In support of this congregation and the many projects and missions that we undertake, we will now pass the baskets with gratitude. Thank you very much.
This is the time we share our joys and concerns. Sometimes you have something so joyful that you really want to share it. And other times you have something so troubling that you need to share it. So that's why we do this. If you'd like to come forward and take a stone, tell us who you are, share what you'd like to share, and then put your stone in the can.
Good morning, Susan Crow. Maxine, I'm so terribly sorry. This isn't so much a joy as a little bit of mischief, actually. I guarantee that every single one of us in this room loves and adores Charlie Tyler. His warm and welcoming spirit, his comforting presence, his profound messages, and his sense of humor. So on the fun side, I think we all know that Charlie does this thing that he calls his Snicker Bar ministry. You've all heard that? And we also know on the fun side, he loves crazy socks. Lo and behold, I found Snicker Bar socks. Stuffed with Snicker bars.
Hey, I'm Kathy, and a dear member of our congregation from years ago passed away on the November 30th. Virginia Jordan had moved to North Carolina, I understand, to be with her daughter. She died at 96, but she helped build this church. I was with her on committees, the membership committee and different ones, and just a thought for Virginia today.
Maxine, I feel your pain. This is a joy. As many of you know or maybe do not know, I am still a practicing Catholic. A lot of people say, especially those in my family, that I should make up my mind. But I like to think of it as I have all my bases covered. Just in case. But, today, for the lovers of music and song, St. Gregory the Great will be having their annual holiday concert at 2:30 in their Life Center, Parish Center. It's a free concert, and they have the little kiddies that sing and the little choir. I was there yesterday when they were practicing. You know how it is, trying to get the kiddies to sing. You know, it was like trying to herd them all in together, and their adult choir. And they're even going to be singing the Hallelujah chorus. But the reason why I'm saying is I am actually going to be singing also. You know, I still keep my little ties there, so I have a little solo. So if you can make it out this afternoon and want to hear some good music, the kiddies are actually pretty good once they get going. I'd love to see you there. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Jan Dunn. Maxine, my heart is breaking for you. I love you very much. We have a joy in that you all know that we've been trying to sell our house. It looks like it's been sold as of yesterday. 3 weeks, and the very first people to take a look at it yesterday have given us a full price offer, and we think it's going to work. The downside is that they want us out really fast. They want us out and they want to take possession by January 5th. So we have to hustle to find a rental. So please keep us in mind. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Sherry Roach. Two things. One, thank you for making me feel so welcome as a visitor. I appreciate that. And also, Maxine, I empathize and enjoy celebrating your husband's life. The other thing I want to tell you, I wasn't here last week, and the reason was my youngest brother, Jim, I'm so excited for him. He spent many years in a marriage that was a big challenge, and he worked very hard to keep that marriage going, and he failed. And he spent several years on his own. And he proposed to his girlfriend last weekend. So we're so excited. He deserves to be happy. Thank you.
Thank you, Maxine, for your courage. My joy is to celebrate Paul. He made it to the last board meeting, and he was always there. He always had good questions. He was quiet, very much kind of a Maine kind of guy, if you will. And he was delightful to work with on the board. And I want to celebrate his courage for the way he stayed on the board and tried to stay active. Thank you, Maxine.
Will you join me now in reading the affirmation number 630 in your hymnal? Kindle the taper like the steadfast star, ablaze on evening's forehead or the earth, and add each night a luster till far, an eightfold splendor shine above the hearth. Clash, Israel, the cymbals, touch the lyre, blow the brass trumpet and the harsh-tongued horn, chant songs of victory till the heart take fire, the Maccabean spirit leap reborn.
Thank you. This month's theme is mystery. And when I saw the theme, I thought, how am I going to preach about Sherlock Holmes and, that kind of mystery? So it's important that I take a moment and talk to you about what I think a mystery really is. And they taught me as an undergraduate, when I did take a public speaking course, that if you can use an object, it makes a lot more sense and a lot more. So I have an object that I want to use to talk about mystery. If you can't see it, David has kindly put a picture of this in our order of service. I was hoping that those who saw it said, wow, that's a mystery. An ordinary garage door opener. Most of you probably have one. Those of you who are lucky or prosperous probably have two. If you have three, don't admit it. A small black box. Your garage door opener.
Think about it for a minute. You press a button, this little button here, and some sort of radio wave or some kind of thing cuts through your windshield or your roof, depending on where you have your box, stationed in your car. It cuts through that. It goes through the air like Superman, and it hits your garage door, and it goes through your garage door into some sort of box. And it flips a switch in that box, and there's a whole bunch of chains and pulleys and kind of stuff, and it raises your garage door. Now, there are those of you probably in this congregation that can explain to me, because you had a different education than I had, exactly how that all works. But even if you did explain it to me, I wouldn't understand, because I wouldn't understand the vocabulary that you were using about wavelengths and spheres and all that physics kind of stuff that I never took either in high school or college, for that matter. So for me at least, and I think for some, I hope some of you would relate to this by saying, you know, yes, there's a logical answer, but forget it. It's a mystery. And that's my definition of mystery. It's not a miracle. It's not a miracle that the garage door opens. But for many of us, at least for me, it's a mystery about how it all happens. So there's an answer, but we don't get it. I think there's a holiday mystery. And it starts by what I would call a force. I'm going to call it the holiday force. And I don't mean that in a bad sense, but that's really, I think, what it is. It's something that starts, while it starts in November, it really starts forcing the day after Thanksgiving. And that's when all that frenzy of the holiday starts for real. Wrapping, baking, decorating, card writing, shopping, performing, dressing up, and of course, cleaning. Because you can't have a holiday without a clean home. And all of a sudden, there's a gear, if I can use an automotive analogy, that we're traveling along nicely in third gear, and we get to the day after Thanksgiving, and all of a sudden, we go into overdrive. Yeah! Too much to do, not enough time to do it. There's this rush of energy, and it doesn't have to be Christmas, it could be Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, whatever you choose to celebrate, we're all in overdrive. And boy, at least in my house, I can't speak for you, but in my house, we're in overdrive. Some kind of increase in activity, an increase of that must-do list, all those things that have to be done with a certain deadline. There's a force that does that to us, that holiday force. And it's a mystery. I'm sure that if we found the right person who had all the different kinds of education that would be necessary, maybe that psychologist, theologian, scientist, physician, and whatever could explain the holiday force. So it's not a miracle. But by golly, it sure exists. And it exists, I think, in almost all of us. And it even, at the part of the apology of being cynical, I think it changes us. Now, I don't think it necessarily changes us for the worst. I want to be careful about making the holiday force pejorative. But I can say that I still don't understand it. It's a mystery. I've been preaching, I had to add it up. I had to actually write it down. I've been preaching for 52 years. And most Christmases I've had to have a Christmas sermon. So I've preached about the winter solstice. I've preached about commercialism. I've preached about the almighty dollar. I've preached about darkness, stars, wise men, three kings. Golly gee, if there's a theme for Christmas, I've probably preached about it. And yet, for me, it still remains a mystery. Now, before you get the wrong idea about how bad this force is, that's not really true. This mysterious force, and it plays in each of us, is also a force for good. I need to be clear about that. This force gives us a heightened concern for others. You might, most of you know, but maybe not all, that I was never a full-time minister, even though I preached all those Christmas sermons. What I did for a living was I ran an assisted living facility. And we had our own version of seeing the force of the holidays. Because starting usually the day after Thanksgiving, the phone would ring and it would be some very well-meaning person saying, "We'd like to come and sing for your elderly residents." How nice. How nice for the first phone call. How nice for the 10th phone call. But when you get to 25 or 30 phone calls, it ain't so nice anymore. But it's still the force. So we devised a strategy, by the way, it's a little off topic, that we would never have more than one group a night, because we got some complaints about all those kids running through the hallways, you know. So one group a night, and if they wanted to come on a night that was already taken, we would say, "Oh, that is so nice of you to think about our elderly residents, but could we make it Valentine's Day or St. Patrick's Day?" And a few of those groups had that flexibility, but I have a hunch a number of the groups that called simply went elsewhere and probably thought that the administrator of that home was a cynical old meanie who didn't want the little children to come and entertain. That force, that holiday force, somehow makes us think more about other people. Take a look at the back table, and that's proof of that. Absolutely proof when you leave. That force also is a force that reminds us about family ties, particularly family ties perhaps with people who aren't necessarily our closest family. All of a sudden that second cousin that we see maybe once every 5 years, but oh by golly, we really need to phone Cousin Mary or whatever her name or his name might be. That there's a force that occurs at this time of year that says and reminds us that we are part of not just the family that we communicate with on a daily or weekly basis, but we are part of a larger family. And it's the holiday force that brings that thought to mind. And then there's part of that force that reminds us about joy and celebration. And as hard as it is to even contemplate, particularly this year, but still our desire and our aspiration for world peace. We become more peaceful during all the frenzy, but we're still thinking more about peace at this particular holiday time of year. Excuse me. And so, I'm not asking you to ignore the force. Rather, I'm asking you to slide along with it, to be able to pick and choose with some degree of moderation what you have to do, people you have to see, experiences that you have to have. All well and good, but good in moderation. The force is not your enemy. The force is your friend. So my simple Christmas or Hanukkah or Kwanzaa message to you is celebrate, find strength, find joy, yearn for peace. And I leave you, and hopefully you won't groan too much when I give you my forceful holiday wish. May the force be with you. By singing verses 1 and 4 of hymn number 211, We Are Climbing Jacob's Ladder. Please rise if you're willing and able.
Congregation is so important. The reason why we gather our hearts together, the reason why that's so important, is the support we bring both in times of joy and heartache. And so I know and pray that Maxine would feel the congregation's power, the force reaching into her life, bringing her that which she needs, and can feel it and take it home. What I'd like to do now is ask Dick to come forward, please, and bring his final remarks.
Closing the words of Albert Einstein, the most beautiful thing we can experience is the mysterious. It is the source of all true art and science, he to whom this emotion is a stranger, who can no longer pause to wonder and stand wrapped in awe, is as good as dead because his eyes are closed. God bless you all. Happy holidays. And let's be together again next Sunday in peace.
May we stand now to extinguish the chalice together. While we extinguish this flame, we still carry in our hearts the light of truth, the warmth of community, and the fire of commitment until we are together again.